Okay,
Hello, this is the Go conversation. Today is 21st of August. We're just talking about something, anything, everything. Feature flags.
yes. Let me introduce about let's discuss about how we can implement feature flags. And I'd like to share my screen. Okay, so this is the issue to investigate feature flags for KAS. And I did some research, like how other project uses feature flags. So feature flags in GitLab, they also use feature flags, but it's all from GitLab Rails. So they create feature flags in GitLab Rails, and every time they receive the gRPC request, there is metadata inside the request. So GitLab checks the metadata and then checks if the feature flag is active or disabled. So this is how GitLab uses feature flags. But I think for KAS are like not all the requests coming from Rails, right? So I think it doesn't work for KAS, I think. Yeah. And another one is feature flags in GitLab Runner. Like, but it was very simple. They use only environment variable. So if they want to enable some feature flag, they run with a feature like in variable feature flag some feature true and do like start the application. So, but I think it's not suitable for KAS because it doesn't provide any single place dashboard to enable disable feature flags. So I think it doesn't work as well. And so I came up with a proposal, but it's still draft and also not sure if this is good. So I'd like to get some inputs. So the idea is use feature flag feature supported by GitLab. So GitLab has a feature flag feature. And so what about we use it? So create feature flag in GitLab agent project. And so KAS needs to fetch the status periodically. And I think we need to cache feature flag status in Redis at the KAS side so that maybe it's good for the performance. And yeah, and these are kind of small details, but the feature flags supports many types, like not all users, for the percentage rollout, and also for some users groups. So I think we can start with all users, like only like on and off, like enable, disable, and also when just with, yeah. So sometimes it might fail to fetch the status, and I think it should be default to disabled. And yeah, and added some pros and cons. So pros is I think we can enable and disable feature flags in the single place dashboard. And also we can view the status at GitLab. And also no need to restart KAS apps. This is about environment variable. If we use environment variable, we need to stop and start every time. And the cons is KAS needs to fetch feature flags data periodically. And also I think we need to store in Redis. And it looks like there are no audit logs for feature flag. So we don't have history or record. So yeah, but I think, yes, it's okay. And so this is, I think, quite straightforward proposal, but yes, do you have any idea, opinion, feedback?
Timo, you go first.
So I mean, the feature flag features, I mean, we own this, right, as a group, and it's in like critical maintenance mode. So
Yep.
if something goes wrong, no one's gonna no one's gonna look at this, and we're just stuck with our own, not maintained, broken things or unmaintained things. Um, I think we're also stuck with an old Unleash version because we didn't, update supports on our side. Um, that's like one thing. The other thing about the proposals of, caching and stuff like this, I think we would have to use like an Unleash SDK. I don't really know how it works, but I don't know how it works, if you have to periodically fetch feature flags, if they have like caching support, if they cache it by themselves, like no idea, right? So I don't know if you looked into this, but
Hmm.
maybe
I
something to consider.
Yeah, I'm not sure as well, but like GitLab provides the feature flags API. So yeah, it's just an API. Like we can get the status like active, true, false. And I guess it's cached in GitLab side, but I think we don't want to send requests every time. So just a cache at CAS side. So, but about critical maintenance mode, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, but I think GitLab users, not everyone, but some people use a feature flag feature, right? Um, and it's actually working, but we cannot rely on. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So I think it's hard to evaluate the proposal because we need the requirements first. Like, what exactly do we want from this mechanism?
Mm.
Like, do we need per agent feature flags, or do we need per project feature flags, or do we need, I don't know, some other way to parameterize the feature flag, or we don't, or do we need row out that is percentage based for some feature flags? I don't know. So I think we need a list of requirements, functional and non-functional requirements, before we can, like, how can I say if this is a good proposal or not? I don't know, because there are no requirements to evaluate it against and compare it to other proposals.
Mm.
I mean, off the top of my head, I think we do need feature flags. Maybe not all of them, but it should be possible, or it would be useful to be able to turn them on for a project, let's say, or for an agent, so that a new behavior can be enabled on production or on staging, but for a project or for an agent. And then you can test it there, and then if everything is okay, you can, roll it out to a group. Oh, that's another thing. Do we want it for a group? Yeah. And then what are any other requirements? So we need a list of requirements, I think. And then if it's the only requirement, be able to have per group, per project, per agent feature flags, then I don't know how it will work with the API that that we are talking about, this feature flag API. If it's per user, the API, then I don't know how. I don't know what this API is capable of, so I don't know if it's possible. But I know that in Rails, and you know better, guys, I think that it's possible to, like, when you are checking a feature flag, not using this feature, but the internal feature flags in Rails, you can pass like an object to consider when checking the feature flag, right? Is that Is that how it works? So can we rely on the internal feature flagging mechanism instead of the public API? Because the internal mechanism, I think I mean, the company, we use it for lots of things, right? And it's not in critical maintenance mode, unlike our feature. So maybe we should look at that. And maybe I don't know if it's better or worse, but I know that it's not in critical maintenance mode, and that's probably a big plus. Also, I think, as I just said, it supports parameterizing the flags by projects and so on. And then if we decide to use this mechanism, as you correctly pointed out, we have cases where GitLab, KAS calls GitLab, and we have also cases where GitLab calls KAS. So both ways. So can we, like in Gitali, send feature flags as payload for all the requests in metadata, maybe, or maybe not in metadata, but as a field? Probably metadata is a better option. So if you are asking for an agent info, for example, you get back the information about the agent. Why can't you get back, as part of that response, information about the feature flags that are related to this agent? And then we can also cache this as part of agent info. It can actually just be part of agent info. Or maybe metadata, whatever, I don't know. But then when Rails calls KAS, it also knows if it asks about a particular agent or if it asks about a project, like there's a call to list all agents in the project. It can provide related feature flags that are for this project or for this group and so on. I don't know. Maybe this is the way to do it.
Yeah. So yeah. Do I understand correct? So it's, yeah, like Gitari Rails sends feature flag status in metadata, but like the opposite way, when KAS sends a request to Rails, Rails can return the response and with feature flag information, right? So that we can know like feature flag status without like actually sending one more API request.
Yes, that's what I'm not proposing, but just thinking out loud. Maybe that's the way to do it. On the other hand, when KAS makes a request to Rails, it's obviously not a gRPC request. It's a request. It's just HTTP request with JSON response. I think most of the endpoints that we call are internal endpoints, but also I think there is one which is checking the job token, say job token. That is just a normal public API, and we don't want to. We could, but we probably don't want to change it to also return any feature flags, and we probably don't want to make it conditional based on who is calling. That's
Are you
smells
sure
like
we're
a
using a
hack.
public endpoint for this?
I think so. I'm
Are
not
you
100% sure.
allowed agents, and that's where the job token gets
Oh, maybe
checked?
that. Maybe that. Okay, maybe I'm misremembering. Okay, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, but something to consider for sure. Yeah.
Well, we could add a new endpoint that replaces the public endpoint. I mean, instead we can call that instead of this. But maybe you're right. Maybe we don't call the public API anyway. So, and I mean, we also could make Rails return any feature flags and headers, or just as part of the response, because why not? These are private endpoints, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Hmm. I see.
I think
So
from an infra perspective, it's nicest to use the like the one that Ruby, the monolith uses, these feature flags.
Because they are available from the chat commands from Slack.
Not
I think.
because of that, but also because of like learning materials and processes. Like if something goes wrong and there's an incident, like release managers and the SREs
Yep.
know how to use feature flags, this way. So if we
Yes.
have our own system, this just adds
Yeah, no.
burden on us to document, and then SREs need to find that documentation, and it's kind of, yeah, I think
That's
we
a
should
perfect point. I think we should be consistent with other components.
Yeah.
If they use that, then let's also use that. I think that's a
Yeah.
very important point. Consistency is important.
Yeah. That makes sense. Then I think so for the next step, I think I will get some inputs from infra people about about if we can rely on the existing infra, feature flag infra, so that we can follow the same way as GitLab Rails use feature flags.
Like, do you have concerns that we cannot rely on?
Oh, I have no idea. I think no, I don't have any idea.
Okay. Yeah.
I think infrastructure people don't like care about this. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of outside of the area of their interest. As long as they have the mechanism to switch things on and off, and it's the same mechanism is even better, right? So I don't think they will have any concerns about us using the same mechanism as everyone and everything else.
Yeah. And since Gitly is doing it as well as a component, like
Yeah.
a component project, I think it's fine.
And we also use it for the Rails side of things, right? We use feature flags there a lot, I think. So it will be just more of the same. I don't think it will be a problem for anyone.
Do we use feature flags? It's only in the Rails project, right? Or in the Go side too? Oh, maybe.
Well, Gitali uses it indirectly, as you know, via those API calls. But maybe other things use the same mechanism or similar mechanism. I don't know.
I guess you could check pages and I don't know, workhorse pages, the registry.
Workforce.
Yeah, registry, good point. Shell.
Yeah.
Shell?
Yeah, GitLab shell. It's the SSH how to say, entry point to clone repositories.
Oh,
Push commits as well. Also in Go.
oh, that's nice. Yeah, I will look into. Like Gitali is, I found that they create feature flags with this prefix, like Gitali feature, and so that at the Rails side, they filter with this prefix, and they add like all of these feature flags in data into metadata. And yeah, so yeah, I think that's a good way and a simple way to do it. Yeah.
I guess it will be okay for like we won't have loads of feature flags, I suppose, but we can also only send the ones that we actually care about. Like for specific endpoint, right? When you think about returning a feature flag when you check the CI token? Like, why return a feature flag for, you know, some random stuff? There's no point.
Sure.
So I remember there was a performance issue with feature flags when we tried to get feature flags for Gitali and send them from Rails to KAS. It was delaying replies. So
What do you mean? Sending from where to where?
from Rails to KAS. So KAS was asking Rails for, I think it was agent info or project info, one of those, or both actually, probably both. And Rails was also including feature flags in the reply for Gitali. And that was taking way more time than the other stuff. Everything else in that response, basically.
Okay.
We can find the node.mr somewhere in the Rails repository. You can probably look at history of the agent info endpoint of that file, basically, and find the merge request that removed this thing, and see what was the problem there. So if we are basically introducing the same thing back, we would be a problem.
It's a good point because some of those endpoints are very like performance sensitive.
Well, we call agent info on a critical path for proxying, basically, to get agent info.
Yeah,
To
not only
authorize.
agent info, but then the author like verified project, allowed agents. These all these endpoints are on a critical path.
So I don't know. If we don't have a use case for feature flags right now, then slowing everything down for no reason, maybe we shouldn't. If this will slow things down, if it will not slow things down, then that's fine. But I don't know.
Like this is kind of a side topic, but there is feature flags, but with the receptive agents, for example, there is an admin setting now that instance admins can enable to enable receptive agents on the Rails part. Before the KAS part, we have this static configuration, right? We say receptive agents enable true. So maybe that's also something that we can consider, right? To kind of
no.
forward the KAS.
No.
Why not? Because it's either this or that?
No, because feature flags are not for kind of permanent configuration. They are to roll things out and then remove the flag eventually. So it's not the right mechanism for this.
I know we shouldn't use the admin like the same solution, but it's kind of a side topic that goes into the same thing that we want to have. You make a configuration on the Rails side, which is a feature flag. You know, a feature flag that we pass on to KAS may as well have effect on the Rails side as well, right? Because some functionality is shared. Like let's say we introduce.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is there is other things like application settings that are affecting KAS configuration in some way. Of course, it's the more permanent configuration, but you know.
I mean, it's like KAS would stop calling Rails if Rails has the feature flag, not feature flag, but the admin setting disabled.
Yeah.
But to know that, it would need to call Rails first to ask, is this enabled or not?
Yeah, it would have to like fetch these settings like beforehand or periodically or whatever, because But I shouldn't have sidetracked, I guess. It's another topic, but it's kind of related.
So I think, yeah, it's an interesting topic though, because to enable autoflow, you need temporal. How do I say? Anyway, you need temporal, and you can't just enable it without temporal. But to configure temporal, you need to like set KAS configuration in the KAS
Yeah, yeah.
configuration file. So if you need to change it anyway, why not have an on-off switch in the configuration file?
Yeah,
Which we have.
that applies for
So-
like temporal and autoflow, but it doesn't apply for receptive agents.
Yes, it does not. It's just an on-off thing at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I guess there's some, yeah. Anyway, folks, I need to go. I'm being pressured here for lunch. I thought this is only going to half hour, but
Okay, yeah, thanks for joining.
yeah, thanks too.
Thank you, Timo.
Okay, so I think for the next step, I think I will yeah, look into like workforce and also GitLab share project, how they use feature flags, and also if we can rely on the existing feature flag infra, and also how we can do it. Yeah, I think this is not something urgent, so yeah, I will look into slowly, and yeah, and also summarize some findings here. So
Okay,
okay.
sounds good. Also, please find that, I can go and find that MR that removed the GitLab feature flags from the responses that Rails sends to KAS. I'll find it.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. Yes. Thanks. Yes. Okay, I think that's all from me.
I don't have anything to talk about this time, I think. So thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me stop the recording.